Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, or wherever you are around the globe. My name is Bridget, and we are super excited for this session. We, in full transparency, are having a little bit of technical issues with Jane in South Africa, so send her your good vibes. We're sure we're going to get that resolved shortly. Oh, there, we've got her! Yay! So just want to.
Jane rocked up next to me.
I'm just going to here. Looking cozy there. So just so everyone's aware, we have the chat for this session, and over in the top right on your screen, I'm using my hands here. You want to make sure that you're in the chat for the session because we want to hear from you. We definitely want this to be engaging, and just put your chat in there. I'll be running that from behind the scenes, kind of like Wizard of Oz, and then also there's a Q&A that you can use. So again, there's the event chat, and that goes to the global event, but we want you in the session chat because we want to hear from you about what these amazing coaches have to say from their perspective about landing your next role. So without further ado, Reinhard and Jane, you can take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bridget. Okay, awesome. Well, we are super excited to be here. We are in Cape Town. It is warm, it is sunny, it is windy. And I'm really excited to be part of the Career Growth Summit. I was part of it last year. And when Liz asked for insights from a career coach, I thought, what can I do better? I can bring another career coach on with me, who is my business partner and husband. So we actually love working together. So I'd like you to have the opportunity to hear from both of us. And we'll go without the slides since those aren't showing up. But we are assuming that you're here because you want to really find about how to make your dream career real. And maybe you've got a dream and you know what it is and you're moving towards that. Maybe you don't know what your dream is. Maybe you're thinking, oh, I just wish I could figure that out. And maybe you're someone who, I actually spoke to somebody in the US last week, and they said, you know what, I'm actually someone who normally coaches other people on how to make their dream career real. And now mine has been derailed and I don't even know what's up and what's down. So any advice on just how to build confidence or how to just get on the right track would be awesome. So I don't know where you're at, but we really want to share the things and the conversations that we normally have with people. And one of the conversations we had recently was with a friend of ours. Her name is Lisa. She is 47 years old. I have a photo of her, but I'll share the slides afterwards. And she is living her dream career. She's actually a sign writer in the movie industry. But Lisa wasn't always living her dream career. I remember interviewing Lisa a few years ago, and she was someone who had 9 jobs in 7 years. And the reason she had that, we were speaking about, and I was like, Lisa, why did you move around so much? Because all of her reasons for leaving were around, well, this person asked me to move there, and that person asked me to move there. So I said, so why did you move every time somebody suggested that? And she said, you know what, Jane, thinking back, I just wanted people to like me. I didn't believe enough in myself. And so as soon as someone else expressed that they believed in me, I moved. I was someone who wanted to feel admired. And she said, also, you know what? People were always telling my parents what exciting jobs they had. And so I thought work is meant to be exciting all the time. So when it wasn't, I got disheartened and thought, oh, maybe I'm in the wrong thing. But I think what Lisa really, what really helped her to now be living her dream career is because she started to figure out, what does she really value? What's important to her? And I said, so Lisa, how did you do that? She said, well, I had to get really honest with myself. And at first I felt really guilty because the things that I really valued were things like, I want to spend more time with my family, or I don't want to work weekends. And so, I felt like, well, those aren't really, cool things to think about your career. But it was really important to me. And as soon as I got real about that, then I could start moving towards what I really do love and what I do today. So I thought I'll bring Reinhard on board as well, because he's someone who has a lot of conversations with people around what they find meaningful and purposeful and how to really bring that into their career choice. So Reinhard, tell us, what kind of questions do you normally ask people when you're trying to help them figure out their meaning and their purpose in relation to their career?
Okay, Jane, by the way, can Tina or the background people maybe just switch off Jane's little eerie circle that goes next to me? But the questions that I think is, everybody has this sort of Hollywood idea of their dream job. But you have to also be realistic. And it sort of maybe sound like I might kill your movie idea of the your dream job, but you have to be realistic. I mean, there's the concept of a market. Your dream job might not be in the market that you live at. So, but I think before you do even that, you have to understand who you are. I'm currently coaching a couple of people in Europe. Different places in Europe, and they are my age, a little bit younger, a little bit older. Some is sort of the final years, career path. But the first conversations we have, it might surprise them, but my first question is about who are you? So it's one thing it's almost you jumping the gun by saying, what is my next career move, and the next step, There's a legio of things that you can go for, but first you have to sort of anchor yourself and say, let's be honest with myself. Who am I, my personality, my skill set, my talents, my interest, and most importantly, what's my current needs? Because even if you know yourself wonderfully, but hey, we just have COVID. We're still in the middle of COVID. Spoke to friends of mine in London. No, it's tough. Everywhere it's tough, so your main needs could be just put food on the table, so it's a mixture of what your needs and who are you. And then we start talking conversations about expanding, what's my dream career? What's my next move? Does that answer it, Jane?
Yeah, totally. And I think, I think that's where the honesty bit comes in, because sometimes it's really hard to be honest and say, I'd really like to be that, but actually my needs are quite basic right now. So I think that takes courage. I think it takes honesty. Mm-hmm. And I think it's not just those factors of what draws you to a new role. It's also what is pushing me out of where I am right now that you've got to think about. Mm. So I had a conversation with somebody about a week ago, and she said, you know what, Jane, I really don't feel appreciated where I am. I don't feel valued. I'm really tired of working where I am. I think I just need to move. Mm-hmm. But after a conversation, what she realized is no moving is going to fix that feeling. Because the reason she has that feeling is because it's the result of her self-talk. Mm. So I think that's also something to consider, what is really going to fix where I'm at?
Yeah, and I think, Jane, the other thing, two people, one I saw last week and one 2 weeks ago, is, we have this thing, I don't know where it comes from, probably not the movies. I think sort of a culture worldwide that you sort of the next career move is a step up. Yeah. We sort of drilled, if my career success path is a higher position or a higher paying job or a job with a better bonus. And then I spoke to this one gentleman, and he's like, okay, what's my next career move? But when we talked about who are you, then I said, okay, well, great. Remember who you are. That move you want to take, because now the next move, very senior in the company. But what do you have to do day to day, week to week? And then he start laying out what he will do. And I said, hang on, don't you hate all those things? He said, that's so true. That's so true. I don't like those. I said, well, great. So are you in financial dire straits that you have to move for someone more increase? No, not at all. I'm actually quite happy. And then we figured out, actually, who says you need to get to the next step and then you're successful? We almost sort of have this Maslow fallacy of the hierarchy of, I know the hierarchy of needs are a little bit different, but especially the top two, self-esteem and self-actualization. that you self-actualize if you move in the corporate ladder higher. But that's not true at all, you know. And I think we need to get around that thing as well, Jane.
Yeah, I mean, I think it reminds me of a conversation I had with someone a few years ago where I was feeling a bit despondent, and I was thinking, sure, you know, I studied this and I did that, and surely I should be kind of further along the corporate ladder, if you like, even though I'm working for myself. And this good friend of mine said, but Jane, how are you defining success? Success used to be defined by title, by position, by money, all of those things. So if you have your needs met, success is defined by other things. Look at the health you have. Look at the relationships you have. Look at the family you have. Look at the flexibility you have. You're your own boss. You can spend time with your kids. You can go and watch their sports. You can be involved in life. And I thought, that's so true. I got derailed by looking at what everyone else has and thinking, maybe I should have that. So it's also about saying, how do we define success? And what do I already have that I want? Because sometimes we've already got it and we're chasing after something else. Why are we doing that?
No, so true, Jane. And things, I mean, back to the basics, you know, if you cover the basics, you know, you put food on the table and your kids go to a good school, they don't have to go to the best school in the world. They just need to go to the good school that you can afford, you know. But kids needs, you know, I donate and we have lots of friends, and all the studies that talk about the formative years, you know, between 0 and 4, 0 and 5, 0 and 6. I mean, that's when you want to be with your kids, you know. So if you have kids, now a lot of people don't have kids, and that's okay, you know. But you know, there's always time. Only now, I'll be 53 this year, and there's, you know, I do the wonderful work I really, really enjoy, and I work all over the world. But when I was 40, I sat next to a cricket pitch and watched my kids play rugby or cricket or whatever it was, because to me that was important then. You know, and I think, you know, could I make more money? Could I have known more people? But towards what end? You know, so, and I think, you know, that's a big thing.
Totally. So I think, yeah, Reinhard, I mean, I think, you know, what we were talking about in terms of, you know, Lisa, for example, and her honesty with herself about what she really wanted. That was the start of her really finding her dream career. Because once you've had that honest conversation, then, as many people have said before, you know what you're aiming towards. And part of it is also, how are you looking after yourself? I love that quote by Stephen Covey that says, we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. And so often we're so busy chasing after something, whether it's job or the next thing, or it's the title, or it's this or it's that we forget to look after ourselves. And before we know it, we're burnt out, or we're unhappy, or we're discontent, and then we start to see the world differently. So it's so important to have that kind of checklist of what do you need to be at your best, so that you can actually see those opportunities as they come along. And it might be simple stuff. I mean, for me, it's, you know, exercise. I need to read, pray, eat, drink water, spend time with my husband, spend time with my family. I've got to do some really basic stuff for me to be able to be positive and see the opportunities that come along. Otherwise, it's so easy to just sink down, especially during this time.
Excellent. Jane, do we have a minute still? Yeah.
So it is 6:54. I think we're due to end in 5 minutes. So I don't know if we need to stop for any questions. Otherwise, we can carry on. Thank you for your encouragement, Kaz and Vanessa and Laurie and Yolanda.
Awesome.
So, yeah, Bridget.
We do have one post in the Q&A.
Yeah.
It says, this is a terrific topic. With so many losing their jobs, some find themselves questioning their interests, their talents, their needs, and so on. All right, do you recommend any assessments to help other than StrengthsFinders?
Yeah, I'm the wrong guy to ask. I'm not a big favorite on assessments. I mean, I like StrengthsFinder, and I'm not against that. I like to have conversations with people, and just through exploratory conversations, start understanding who people are, and be honest about their skill set. Because sometimes what you like doesn't really match your skills. And a lot of assessments are self-assessments. Now, nothing against them. There's some really, really great assessments down there. But I think, to have a good, honest conversation with a great friend probably equals just as much as a great assessment. Something where you have a good, reflective conversation.
Yeah. I think sometimes the danger for me with assessments is people park their mind and go with the assessment. And I think that's a really dangerous place to be. So I see all of these young kind of students who are starting off in their careers, and so many of them are like, I took this assessment and it said I can be anything. Or a lot of them, I should be a lawyer. But, it's not necessarily what they really want. There's so much more that goes into it. So I think an assessment can help, but it definitely needs to be coupled with an honest conversation in a safe place. I think that's where vulnerability happens.
Yeah. I think.
Go ahead,
sorry. No, I think the basic is you must match your current needs. Because sometimes your current needs is not your dream job, and then you got to just park it a little bit. That doesn't mean cancel it, but you got to park it. Be honest, and still work on it. Work on it at night. The skill set you need, maybe the contacts you need to develop, like a platform like this. So it doesn't mean it doesn't exist or you're not working on it, but you have to be honest. Be honest about your skill set. Build up your networks. Build up your contacts. It takes time. Yeah. The best thing you can ask as an assessment. I wanted to become a lawyer 20 years ago. 25. I sat down with an advocate. I said, listen, John, I can't afford your fees, but I can buy you a steak and a nice glass of red wine. The best question I ever ask, and I tell all my clients this that talk about careers, John, what do you do mostly from day to day? And he said, Reinhard, I read. No, I grew up, now I know how old I am, I watched LA Law, forget Boston Legal, so so we have this like, oh, you read, and I was, now I read a lot, but at 30, I didn't want to read for 90%. So before you do that dream job, go and interview 4 people, ask them what did they do from day to day.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was going to ask. I'm going to say, what else do you recommend? So perfect. We're all in alignment here. Well, we do have 2 more minutes before the end of the session. I don't see any other Q&A. We have a great audience. We have over 50 people attending. Oh, someone just snuck one in. Let me, so we have, it's just gratitude here. Someone says, thank you, Chris. Says, just looking for a starting point. Patience is very challenging and stressful when you're used to going 100 miles per hour.
Yeah.
One quick word, I have 60 seconds. Also, we did a talk the other day on working for yourself versus being an entrepreneur. And a lot of people sort of starting with COVID their own thing. There's a big difference, so if you're an entrepreneur, you build a business. So you work on a business and it takes time. I'm not an entrepreneur. I actually work for myself.
Yeah.
So I sell my time. I will never make more money than the time I do, but I'm dead happy about it. That's what I choose to do. And some people say that with some careers it's not possible, but in my career it's possible. I don't want to have 20 other coaches that I manage. Then as well, then I'm a business person, an entrepreneur. I'm a professional coach. I sell my time and I'm happy to do that. So even if you don't work in an institution, you also as an individual have to make that distinction. If you want to entrepreneur, do you want to run a business or do you want to be self-employed and sell yourself?
Yeah, great point.
Wonderful. Well, I know that I've connected with you on LinkedIn, so I'd encourage everyone to make connections. You can chat with, either of the Moors in the reception or the lounge areas, but thank you so much for coming. I'm going to close out this session and wish you the best for the rest of the day. Thank you so much, Reinhard and Jane. You are outstanding as always.
Thanks, Bridget.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brandon. See you.